Hi there, it's Jeff, and welcome to my YouTube tutorial on the QCAD drawing cabinets and joinery. In this video, I'm just going to be going through the basics of what drawing tools I use that become shortcuts and tricks to drawing joinery or cabinets using this 2D program. Now, this is basically an engineer's program. You can design and draw anything you want on this program. It's not specifically made for drawing joinery or cabinets or kitchens. So more or less going to be showing you the shortcuts that I use to draw cabinets on here quickly and to dimension them, to get them onto a PDF or to print them, so then you can then transfer all those measurements and drawings onto production, to a cutting list and so forth. So looking at this is the main interface of our program. It's basically, this is what's going to look like after you've downloaded the program. So if you're a beginner to CAD, I know that can seem a little bit daunting. There are a lot of tutorials on this program in just basic drawing, or, to get started with using this program. But if you are a beginner, look, hold on tight. I'll try to get through as best as I can, showing you the basics of what you need to use and to get going. On the left hand side of the program here are your basic drawing tools. There's arcs, there's straight lines, there's circles, rectangles, you can freeform. There is text to put on there. You can import pictures. There's a measuring tool. So some of these I'll go through as we're using the program and drawing. Up the top here, you've also got some other tools as well. So in the drawer, I will use this one here for hatch. Sometimes a dimension you will use. I'll use that one there, align, modify if you want to copy things, rotate, trim tools, and so on. On the right hand side here, you have another pane here. Yours might look a little bit different, but this is where you can add layers. Now, the good thing about this program is that you can add layers to your drawing. So you can, in other words, you can add elements that you can see or not see if you don't want them. You can add them and make them disappear if you don't want them, so they can be add-ons. So they're really good, for example, if you're drawing your cabinets and then you want to detail the inside of your cabinet and show, the runners and the drawers, for example, and then you want to turn that on and off because it can look a little bit busy and hard to sort of comprehend. So yeah, that's for layers over here, which I'll go through with you later on. And one of the first things you probably do want to do as well with this program is go into and customize it to suit your needs and your measurements. One of the most important things. I'm working from Australia, so we work in metric. If you're in the States, you want to be in imperial. So you go over to the top here and it says edit, and you're going to go into application preferences, and you're going to go into dimensions, for example. This is where you can change your dimensions when you are dimensioning your drawing, which I'll go through that later on. I'll show you how this works later on. Architectural tick or arrow when you're doing dimensions. I like to use the architectural tip. And you're going to be over here in format. So you've got decimal or you've got fractional and so on. So precision, I like to do that to just 0 there. Format is decimal, and when you are done with that, just press OK. There are other parts of it, drawing. So here is where you're going to be to the millimeter, or you want inches and so on. So just have that in that style there. I don't really touch anything else on this too much. I haven't really gone through and touched a lot of other stuff on here. We'll go through some of those dimension ones later on. Okay, so first up, I'm just going to show you, and by the way, when you will definitely use a mouse for this program. It's a bit hard using the trackpad on your laptop. I would recommend using a mouse. If you want to move the screen across like this, you're using the cursor wheel on your mouse and you're pressing down and moving, and then you're also going to be using your left click and right click a lot with this program. In the middle here, this red cross is basically our datum point. You can basically start from here. You can zoom out, zoom in. It's just basically a starting point. It's not too important. Okay, we're going to start off with the rectangle tool over here, which is the main tool I use. So let's click that one, and you've got two here that you can use. The left one here is basically clicking and making your own size rectangle or square. So at the moment I'm just got my finger down on the left key on the mouse and moving it to where I want, and then when I've got to the right size I let go, and that's the square that I'm left with. To get rid of this crosshair that's in this page moving, I right click and I'm back to that sort of basic setup. If I want to get rid of this square now, I don't want it, I'm going to come higher, I'll click down, hold that left key down, go right across and cover it, and press the delete key on my keyboard. I think there was something else there. So that's that one with the rectangle, but I mainly use the one on the right. So if you press that one on the right, up the top here basically is you can dictate what size square you want. So at the moment it's a rectangle 65mm wide by height 100. So this is the main tool that I use the most. So in this example tutorial, I'm going to draw a bit of cabinetry, a credenza for example, and I'll show you how easy it is to use these tools and how quickly it'll come up. So I'm going to be drawing this, and I'm going to be drawing 3 doors first. So I want these doors at a width of 500 by around 650 high. So if I zoom out, so that's my door, for example, with this drawing. I'm going to click it there, left click, and I've still got that square, so which is very handy if I want to do multiple doors, for example, or the same run. I'm going to start the next one there, left click, another one, left click. So already I've got 3 drawers representing a drawer or cabinets there. On top of that, I'm going to have some drawers. So I want the drawers the same width, but I want them at a height of around 200. So I'll change that. And again, I'm going to click onto there. It'll reference to the left-hand corner. Click, click, and click. So can you see what I was doing there? I was just basically using the same tool going over. And also you can see that this is dragging around from the left-hand corner of with my cursor there of that square. You can change that over here by picking bottom right, for example. If you want to snap from that way, top left, top right, and you've got all those options there. So you'll see me changing over from that one a lot. So there's your basic foundation of my cabinet already. What I will do next is add a bench top. So I want the bench, this now is going to be 1500 long. So the width here I want is going to be 1540, so that means I'm going to have 20mm overhang and a height of 30. So there's my bench top. Now if I zoom in here, if I go to try to put this on and I want to overhang on the side here, it's a bit difficult. So see how it's not going to play for me nicely. So there's a trick around that. Change this to bottom center. So if I go there, this is going to click it in the middle. So it's the middle of the unit. So now I have that bench top centered in the middle of my cabinetry by picking bottom. So that's a little trick there that you can use to center things, which we'll use again, don't worry. Now I'm going to change is that these doors, I'm going to make them shaker style doors or panel doors. Okay, so the frame of these doors are going to be around about 60, let's make them 65 millimeters. So what I will do now as a shortcut is I'll go back to my tools here, so you can use that arrow there, left again, and this one here is your basic drawing tools, and the far left one here. So now this lets you draw lines wherever you want. As you can see me mucking around, right click, let's go. So you can use this tool to draw whatever line work you want in whatever configure. But what I'm going to use this tool for is go from this corner to this corner, right click, left click there, left click to the intersection, and then right click, let go, right click again, and that's just basically given me a center point here to work from. So what I'm going to do now is make another rectangle to fit inside. So we know that our door is 500 wide and 650 high. So let's get our calculator tool. So we're going to do, so 650, I'm going to take away 65 minus 65 as well. So 520 is going to be the height by, go back to our rectangle tool, so 520 will be the height. 520 is that height, and our width of our doors was 500, so we do now 500 minus 65 equals 370. So I'm going to change that width now to 370, and that gives me a square which will represent our middle panel of our shaker door. Now it's a matter of moving my reference, which is over here, to the middle, and now it's dragging that panel from the middle, and I can snap it in the middle of that reference that I've just done, and it's perfectly in the middle of that door, giving me that paneled style door. Okay, now I'm going to right click, get rid of that, and I can use this to make these ones as well. So what I can do is we will highlight, well first what I will do is get rid of those reference lines, delete, I'll click on them, delete, and now I'm going to highlight this door, and I'm going to press modify, copy, and then it wants me to select a reference point to move this copy. So I'm going to use the bottom left hand corner, click, and you'd see that it's copying it, and I can move that wherever I want. And what I will do is move it to the next door in that bottom corner, left click, and it tells me, do you want to keep the original, delete the original, make multiple copies. I'm going to make 2 copies here. I'll put it on multiple copies 2, okay, and it's already made a second one there for me as well. Happy days. So as you can see already, very quickly I've made that cabinets there with the shaker style doors that you can see. Now what we're going to do is the same panelled inlay on the drawer fronts. So the drawer fronts now, the height we've got to work out because the same, it's going to be 370 there. So what we're going to do here is get the calculator back, and there is a little bit of mathematics in this, don't get me wrong. You will need to play around with measurements because it's not done for you. You're going to actually manually do it. So we're going to get 200, which is the height of our drawers, okay, minus 65 minus 65 again equals 70. So we go back to our rectangle tool, we're going to change the height to 70, and that will be the middle panel for the drawer. So I'm going to apply the same trick that I did when I did the doors, I'm going to go back to the line tool. I'm going to do a line from here to here. Let me zoom that in a bit for you. Right click, left click again here, left click to the intersection to get rid of this line here, right click. Now, I right clicked again, I'm back to the rectangle. It's already set in the middle. Snap that in the middle there, left click, right click to get rid of, and there is the template for our drawer. I'm going to delete these cross lines and we'll highlight all this, modify, copy. I'm going to move it from the bottom left hand corner, 2 copies again, and it's done it for me automatically. And now you can see that our cabinet or our credenza that I'm designing here is taking place. It's got some shaker doors and drawers on the top. It's got a bench top. Now I'm going to put some legs on it. I'm going to put some little legs down the bottom here. So I'm going to go back to the rectangle tool and I'm going to make the legs 65mm wide by 100. I'm going to change my reference now to top left so I can snap it there, and then now I'll change it to top right so I can snap that there. And I've got 2 legs now for the cabinet. Let's put some knobs on the cabinet, or how about we do a little bit of a feature inside this panel. So if I wanted to show a client now different patterns that I could show represent in this door, so I could show the client these basic panel doors, and I can show them doors with mesh, say a brass mesh inside here, or I could show them V-groove doors as well. But we want to show them all 3 at different, at different levels, or we don't want to compromise this drawing. So this is where we can add layers, and we can switch those features on and off. So what we do here is we come to the layers list and we press the plus button. We're going to add a layer. You can change what color it is if you like. I'm just going to leave it, or for the demonstration, let's do it in a green color. Press OK. Now I am working in this layer 1. I can double click that. I can come back to it. I can change properties on that if I want. I can change this to, let's write mesh. Okay, so we don't get confused over here. And we'll do mesh inside the doors. So how we're going to do that is highlight the door, or the panel, sorry. And we're going to go to draw, and we're going to go down to hatch. So we print on hatch. Now you can do a solid fill, or you can do a hatch pattern. So there's different patterns in here that you can go through. At the moment I've got the one that I'm after, which is like a mesh sort of setup. You can play with the scale of it in here, 3. That means how big those mesh is going to come out. And if I press OK, it's put a mesh screen inside there. So that's how I would represent a mesh screen inside that panel door. So if you want, you can do them to all of them. If I want to do them, I'll try doing them both at once. I just press Shift key and highlight this one as well. Let's highlight that one as well. Let's see if they'll do it all together. And draw, hatch, OK, and bingo. So now my credenza's got mesh doors. I can change that color if I want to make it look a little bit realistic. Dark yellow. Let's have a look at what that looks like. Okay, that looks a little bit more realistic, as representing some dark brass mesh, for example. Now you can see that if I don't want this, so if the customer doesn't like this, for example, I can go over here and it's got a little picture of an eye, and I can remove it. Okay, on, off. So that is like an option to show the client, for example. Now I'll do another one where we'll do V-groove panels. Let's do another one. So layer 1, I'll leave that at black. Okay. We'll rename that, sorry. Whoops. Let's name that V groove. Okay. Now let's get into this bit better. So now I want to say, for example, I want to measure what this with this panel. I forgot what size it was. So I want to measure what this is because I want to divide this into 3 equal parts. Let's use that measuring tool, which is this one here with a little ruler, and go to this one here, straight, and I'm going to click here and click down to that one, and it tells me 370. So that's a little tool that you can use if you want to measure something or you've forgotten something. So right click, I've got rid of it. I'm going to go back to the rectangle tool over here. So I've got 370. Let's get our calculator out. 370 divided by 3 equals 123.33. So I'm going to go back to here. The width is 123.33 by the height. I've forgotten the height, so I'm going to go back to here. Okay, there to there, 520. Okay, there we go. So here I'm going to go back to the height here, 520. And what I've created now is a little panel. And I'm just going to snap that there and snap that there, and that gives me a panel. So let's do that again there, there, and there. Right click, it's gone. Now, as you can see, on this layer shows the client V-groove panels, for example. We don't want that, we'll get rid of it. So you can see how handy this layer block is over here. It's really handy for doing things like that. Let's put, so we'll get rid of that now, just for example. Let's do the mesh. And let's put some knobs on it now. And I'll show you some tricks on how to do that one. And then we'll dimension it. So let's put some knobs in the drawers, for example. So I'm going to put some round knobs, and I'm going to put them right in the middle. Probably going to be the most obvious place to put it. So we'll go over here to the left. I'm going to go into the circle tool. There's different ones here that you can use for radius, diameter, and I think we're going to pick this one here. This one says center diameter. So if I go over to the left here, when I click at the moment, it says, okay, hang on a minute, we're going to go out of, at the moment we're in our, what are we in? Our normal drawing one there. Okay, so we just want to change layers that we're working on here. Otherwise it's going to do the V. So now, at the moment, when I press that circle, I've got a diameter punched in here at 35, so you can change that to whatever diameter you want. If you want those round knobs representing they're going to be 50 mil, then you would change it in here 50 mil, and that will give you a 50 mil knob. Okay, so I'm going to change that back to 35, and I'm going to need to put that in the middle again. So I've got rid of those cross lines. That's probably the best time that I should have probably done it, but let's go back and I'll show you how to do that again. Across here. Right click, got rid of it. Now, right click again. And there's the knob. Right click, gone. What I will do as well is save this stands out, this circle. I'll fill it. So I'll go back to the hatch and I'm going to put solid fill. Okay. And that way we can see our knob a little bit better. I'm going to get rid of that line. Delete. Delete. Okay, so that's how you would do your knobs on your drawer fronts. I could copy this. Let's have a look. We can copy. It wants me to reference again. I'll go here. There you go. And there's all three knobs. For the bottom doors, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do the knobs halfway along the stiles here. So you'll have a pair and then you'll have one turning, maybe hinged on the right. So what we can do here is these doors, they were 650, weren't they? So 650 here. I could make a little rectangle 65mm that would come halfway here, and that would give me a reference point to put the knobs, for example. So I'll show you what I'll do here is my trick. Go into the rectangle width. Now I'm going to do 65 by what were we, 650, so it's 325, half of that, and my reference point is going to be bottom right. So if I go there, and then I'm going to go bottom left, 1, 2. That's going to be all I'm going to be using here is just this point here as a reference, as just the center of my door. So going to go back to the circle. It's going to remember that setting that I had it on already. And if I go to here, it's going to snap in the middle. It's going to have a middle point there, so that's perfect. 1, 2. We come over to here. 3. Right click out. Okay, and then I'm just going to get rid of that line now. We don't need that. Same over here. Delete and delete that now. I'm going to highlight these. Shift. We go back to drawer. Hatch. Solid fill is already pressed. And now I've got the knobs on the doors there for the credenza. So it's really taking shape now. And that's basically, our credenza made up quickly. It taking a bit longer because I'm showing you, but you can see how I can quickly use some of these tools to make cabinets easily. The last thing I'll show you how to do now is to dimension it. I don't want this video to go too lengthy for you, it'll bore you. But let's quickly dimension it, and we'll put a title on the front, and then I'm going to show you how to quickly save it and print it. So dimensions, which is over here, align. So let's just do a measurement. We'll show you. So you're going to snap it in that corner there, to that corner there, and come down. Now, you can see that that looks awful. The lines, my dimension lines are touching. You can't see the measurement at all, and this is all because it needs scaling. So let's go into Edit, Drawing Preferences, hit Dimensions, and at the moment it says Keep Proportions. So if I untick that, I'm going to put architectural tip because that's the style that I like as well. Drawing must be inch to display dimension labels in formats, architectural or engineering format change to decimal. Okay, so there, apply OK, and I'll go back into here, drawing preferences. There, okay. Now, text height. So let's move this over here. Let's do a text height of 25. Okay. Alright, so looking at our drawing, yeah, you could probably see that. You can play around with these dimensions as much as you like. I'm just going to do it quickly just to to keep us moving. But say 25 is fine. The extension line is going to be the line down here that it extends. I'll change that to 10. Extension line offset is going to be this one here off your job, and I want a decent gap there if I can. Let's try 25 for start. Arrow size, that's the architectural tick size is going to be. I'm going to stay 10. And let's press apply. Okay. And you can see how now I've got a gap there and the architectural tick has increased. If you want to increase it more, yeah, you can just go back into here. It's a matter of, for the first time you're using it, and it depends on the scale of your drawing, like the size of your drawing as well, what actually looks aesthetically pleasing, especially when you print it out. So arrow size, I might change that to 15 for example. Extension line offset, I might change that to 30, make it a little bit bigger. Text height, let's make it 30. Apply, okay, and those changes are done. So that's our dimensioning there. I'll do another one down here just to show you. So dimension, aligned. You can also, if you're doing round circles or shapes, you've got different options here as well. But I've generally, my main go-to is aligned. So snap down the bottom, snap down the end, and so for example, there's our dimensioned drawing. If I wanted to detail and outline how wide these doors are, for example, because I've only got the overall measurement here, just to show you a little bit more detail. There are ways, if you try to dimension and go from here, it's not going to work well because you're going to have those lines joining. It's just not going to look right. So there is a little trick you need to do to make this look better. And it's just a matter of filling up this gap and putting these lines in place. So I can just use the line tool, for example, and all I'm doing here is just making reference. Another one there. Click. Click. Now, I'll just get rid of this. We'll do that again. Now, I'll show you what I'll do. Is just go from here to here. From here to here. And if I zoom in, you go to that point there, it'll snap. Which looks nice and neat. Okay, from that one there to here. And we'll do, oops. We'll do from here to here. There we go. And now I can get rid of those reference points, put it back to the way it was. Now I'm going to do an overall dimension. One from there to there, and we'll extend it off that, make it look nice and neat. And then you can see how I've dimensioned that nice and neatly to industry standards there. So we're showing that the legs are 65 and the doors are 500. And you can do the same on the side if you wanted to as well. Now, lastly, I'll just do a little title. So I'll show you how you do some titles at the moment. So you've got different fonts here to play with, where you want the drawing of the font to reference from. Just leave it set at the top left. At the moment, the font is at 50. If I change that to 30, which is the same height as my text, let's press OK. And I've got here, so you can see that if I wanted to add text on that line, I could actually do that as well. It's the same text height. But you can see that you can move that wherever you want. I'll just say we'll move that in the middle of that drawer. Click. You can do more if you want to, but right click, you get rid of it. And that's basically our nice little storage cabinet or credenza that I've just quickly made. Now to print that or to save it, you can save it as a PDF, save it to your computer for later, or print it. You're going to go over to File, and we're going to go to Print Preview. If you want to save it as a PDF, you press PDF Export, Print Preview. Now this is the tricky part to get this drawing onto paper. So with a couple of little clicks here and tricks, it's not too hard. The first thing you're going to do is this white rectangle here represents your printing area, what's going to be printed. If I just press print now, a little print icon, I will just get a piece of paper with this mesh in the right hand corner. So what we need to do is scale this drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the orientation of this print to portrait. So these are these two here. At the moment you can see it's clicked on portrait. We're going to do landscape. Okay, zoom back out. And the next thing you're going to do is scale it. So over in this window here it says scale 1 to 1. You've got some presets here, 1 to 2, 1 to 5, 1 to 10. You can try a few of those first. So what I'll do first is try 1 to 10. I'll zoom back out and you can see that the paper now is really big. What I want to do is center the drawing also. So the way to do that is to get this hand tool here, this hand, click on that. You can see it's depressed, it's dark. And you left click and hold down. So I'm holding that left key on the mouse and I'm moving it. So I'll just center that for you. So you can see that I can move that to wherever I want. And at the moment it's in the center. So I could probably get away with printing that as it is at 1 to 10 scale. If I wanted to show that more detail and make it a little bit bigger, as fill in that page as much as I can, I could change that scale. Instead of doing 1 to 8, I'll try 1 to 8. Let's move that in the center again. And you can see how that's got a little bit bigger. I could probably go a little bit more if I wanted to. Let's try 1 to 7. And I'm pushing the boundaries as it is. So that blue line is roughly if you wanted to put a border. So let's go back to 1 to 8. That looked a little bit neater. Center that. And there you go. And click that tool. To go back to your drawing, if you've found that, oh, I forgot something before I print it, you press that red X key there and you go back to your drawing. To go back to the printing preview, I'm back here. And now from here, it's really easy. All you got to do is press File, Print, or you can just use this shortcut here, Print, and it'll go to your printer settings. Here's my printer settings. Just watch the orientation. On mine, I've got to change it back to landscape, and I will print. Or you save it as a PDF, and you can give that as an email attachment or something to your clients if you wanted to show them a drawing before you go ahead with the job, or to approve, for example. It's really good, this program, to save it as a PDF. It's very handy. And like I said, this program is free, but it's got such a lot of features in it for a free version of a CAD program. It's very powerful. I haven't even indulged in the depth of this program. It's so complex. But you can see that just using some of them basic tools that I've used, you can draw some cabinetry or joinery and design some stuff, and then print this, which will help you put it into production into your workshop. So I hope this video has been helpful to some of you, especially if you're a beginner or you're new to CAD programs. If you've already used QCAD, it might be really helpful to you to draw some cabinets, hopefully. But yeah, that just about wraps up this video for today. I didn't want to make it too long. There's so much more I can do, and I'll probably make some more videos in the future doing some other things with this program, maybe drawing a kitchen, maybe drawing or adding a title block to your, when you want to print there, for many other sort of stuff there. You could add a title page template that you can actually import in as well. So I might do some other ones later on. Let me know in the comments if you did like it. Be kind to me. I'm not like an expert on this program. I'll try and help as much as I can, where I can. But yeah, that just wraps up this video for today. I hope you liked it. Thumbs up, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you keep up to date with all the latest videos that I bring out. And hopefully I will see you in one of my next videos.